This episode is brought to you by WeatherGuard Lightning Tech. At WeatherGuard, we make wind turbine lightning protection easy. If you're a wind farm operator, stop settling for damaged turbine blades and constant downtime. Get your uptime back with our Strike Tape lightning protection system. Learn more in today's show notes or visit weatherguardwind.com/striketape.
Welcome back. I'm Alan Hall.
I'm Dan Blewett, and this is the Uptime Podcast, where we talk about wind energy, engineering, lightning protection, and ways to keep your wind turbines running. All right, welcome back to the Uptime Podcast. I'm your co-host, Dan Blewett. No Alan Hall today. He'll be back with us in a couple of weeks, but we have a great guest today, Paul Dawson, Vice President of Business Development from EOCYCLE, will be here with us for a great conversation. So our talk today is about distributed wind. EOCYCLE is a distributed wind company. They sell their flagship wind turbine is the EO25, a 25 kilowatt model that can provide power for about 10 to 15 homes, but they're not really in the residential market. They're really in the small business market, specifically targeting lots of farms in the Midwest and in other areas where a small wind turbine is going to work. So distributed wind is an interesting segment of the wind energy market. We want to talk to someone about it so we could get a feel for, you know, the smaller space that GE and Siemens Gamesa and Vestas really aren't paying much attention to. So, you know, if you float around social media, Twitter, YouTube, you'll see lots of really interesting designs, whether it's these traffic vertical turbines, which is a new prototype out of Turkey, or any of these little things where we're trying to capture excess energy. You know, wave power is a thing, right? We're trying to find ways to squeeze more energy out of the world, essentially. And so small wind is a sort of like mid-range solution for that, right? It's not this tiny thing that's going to do 1 kilowatt a year. It's a pretty significant solution for small businesses and farms is one of their main target markets. So Paul is a wind energy lifer. He's been in the industry for the past 15 years, currently again with EOCYCLE as Vice President of Business Development, but he's also worked for Switching Gears. He was the Director of Business Development and Sales for Northern Power Systems, and he was also the Global Sales Manager of Energy Systems, to name a few. So really great conversation, and I think you're really going to enjoy it on distributed wind. So without further ado, let's jump to our conversation with Paul Dawson. Hey, Paul. So thanks for joining us on the show. I really appreciate it.
Great to be here.
So let's jump right into it. EOCYCLE, I kind of mentioned this in our last podcast. I think the distributed wind sector is really interesting. So you guys are in distributed wind. Can you just quickly speak to the difference between distributed wind and big wind, and what kind of that market is that you guys are going after?
Sure. So I'm intimately aware of these differences, having worked in both sides of this industry. The big wind industry is all about, and I know your podcast is all about this, it's the wholesale markets, it's large-scale developers, large wind turbines. The distributed wind industry is focused on customers generating their own electricity for their own use, for use on site. And so that's a fundamental difference. We're not selling into the wholesale markets. You've probably heard the expression before, spinning your meter backwards to offset the electricity that you would otherwise be purchasing from the electric grid. And in doing so, you will reduce your electric bill, save money, gain energy independence.
So this sounds like this is the same market as like solar has. Like my parents, a salesman came out to them a number of years ago, said, "Hey, your house looks perfect for solar. You guys have lots of sun. We've done a study in the area. Would you want solar to reduce your costs over time?" Is that sort of like the corollary? Like, is this similar to what solar has done in the past? But obviously, you guys aren't necessarily going after residential, right?
Yes, it's actually a great analogy. In our case, though, we tend to work in rural settings versus suburban or urban settings, and that's the key difference. We really go where the wind is.
Gotcha. So tell me about that. So obviously, like the Midwest, I lived there for the past most of the past 9 years, and there's a massive commercial wind farm out in McLean County, Illinois. Some wonderful people
Hmm.
still out there. And at night, as you're driving down, I guess it's 66 or no, Route 70. Man, it's only been a year, Mark. Already forgetting, but you can see these like 200 turbines all have their red aviation obstruction lights flash at night. It's the craziest sight. So obviously, there's a ton of land out there, and some of it's bought up by commercial.
Hmm.
But you're saying that some of these smaller farms, they could just do their own power off the grid, or not necessarily off the grid, but they could be self-sufficient.
Exactly. So, and it is a good point. The question of on grid or off grid is one that comes up a lot. A lot of people think that when you get a wind turbine, oh, you're suddenly completely disconnected. While it is possible, there's a lot more technology that needs to go into that and storage, and we are working on that on an offering to bring that to the market. But the easiest and fastest way is to simply connect it to the grid and reduce a portion of the electricity that you use. So when the wind turbine is spinning and you need electricity, you'll take that electricity as a priority. When the wind turbine is spinning and you don't need all of the electricity, it's pushed back onto the grid. And depending on the policy, that will determine what the value of that electricity is. Maybe you get a credit, a kilowatt hour credit. You may get some money. It may be a retail rate. It may be a wholesale rate, but you'll get some sort of credit. And if the wind turbine is spinning, you're taking all the electricity and you need even more than that, well, you'll just buy the difference from the grid, from the
Mm-hmm.
provider.
So going back to like solar as an analogy, solar's gotten a lot cheaper over the years. How has the cost? Does it change a lot based on geography? Like if you put a wind farm up in Indiana, or I
Mm-hmm.
misspoke. If you put a wind turbine on a farm in Indiana, is that going to be similar in cost to a wind turbine on a farm in Minnesota or North Dakota?
Mm-hmm. So while project costs don't vary tremendously from one region of the country to another, what is different are two things that really influence the return on investment, your payback. One of those is the electric rate, so what you pay for your electricity. So that's because that effectively is the value of the electricity that your turbine is generating. That's what you're offsetting. So that will be an important factor. And the second one is the wind speed. And unlike solar, that is much more regional, right? You'll have certain areas of the country where you'll have a certain solar resource, and it's more or less the same everywhere in that area. Wind energy is very dependent upon the wind speed. The amount of energy in the wind, it's a cubic function, so a doubling of the wind speed is in theory 8 times the output.
Mm-hmm.
So in practice, it's a little bit less than that, but the point remains the same, and that is that finding the windy spots is critical to siting your wind turbines and picking your markets.
Gotcha.
So here in the U.S., there are windy spots all over the country,
Mm-hmm.
but down the middle of the country, in the Great Plains, Midwest, there is an awful lot of wind. And I always like to say, you can almost drop a wind turbine out of the sky and it will land in a windy spot.
Yeah, no, that's true. That's one of the key differences is it snows out my window here in DC. It's like 30 probably outside and not that windy, whereas in Chicago, near where I used to live, it's probably 0 and snowing sideways. So lots of wind generation out there.
Yeah.
So you've worked in big wind for a long time. Can you speak a little bit about your past? And because I want to get back to the differences between the physical devices. I know obviously there's a big difference between a
Right.
commercial wind turbine and your technology at EOCYCLE. So tell me how your path a little bit through the industry, and then let's get back to the differences here.
Sure. Well, the big break I had was with a company called NRG Systems, which was the global leader in wind measurement equipment. And they work with all of the major developers around large-scale wind, utility-scale wind developers around the world. I was their global head of sales and got to interact and learn all about the challenges and opportunities of utility-scale wind development in markets on far-flung places and domestically. And that was a real learning experience. That was fantastic. It was a great company, and really just gave me the perspective and the background I needed to understand the big wind space. There was another company and this was in Vermont, and at the time there's another company in Vermont that was working in the distributed wind space, and they were leading the market at that time. And I saw an opportunity, and I said, and these guys had an idea to try to bring this distributed wind to markets all over the place. I thought, hey, I could transition into this, and we could see some of the same growth curve. That things they struggled financially, and ended up leaving there, but found a company called EOCYCLE that I'm with today, and they actually found me, and we started working together. And this is a company that had the vision, the exact vision that I had for the small wind industry. I didn't realize they were doing this, and so when we spoke, it was like, okay, we're doing this. And the concept essentially is to bring the rigor and the technology and the learnings of the big wind industry and scale that down into the small scale distributed space so that can be deployed at volume. Right? There's huge opportunity in the distributed wind space that has not been tapped yet, right? And unlike solar that has seen some exponential growth, the small wind space is just at the very beginning of this curve. And there's so much opportunity, right? The Distributed Wind Energy Association has identified 49 million sites in this country where that small wind could be deployed. And at the moment, it's just a tiny fraction of that where that's been the projects have gone in. So there's a huge opportunity to do that. But the industry has largely been it's been around for a long time. It's been bumping along, I'll say, for 30 plus years. And there's been some very passionate and very smart engineers and people in this industry have really given it all. But I think now it's time for some new energy and perhaps some additional perspectives to help drive this at scale. And that's really what needs to happen, and to bring this to fruition, because there's just so much, and there's a huge need, right? Or a huge demand, I should say. Distributed wind is increasingly popular. Used to be more of a environmentalist, green lefty kind of thing. Now you're seeing
that quirky guy has a windmill on his site.
Yeah, exactly. Now it's going mainstream. It's gone across the political divide, right? You've got people. It's doing less and less to do with politics. It just makes sense. But what there needs to be are good solutions, turnkey, easy to use, plug and play kind of stuff that just works. And that's what we're trying to. That's what we are bringing to the market here today.
Well, and so there's some key differences in the technology too that seem so to make it a little more friendly for potentially like small islands and some really remote places. And obviously, we talked about that. There was a different technology called Typhoon Turbine, which I'm not sure how their company's doing. We'll probably have to check up on that. They had a really interesting, unique design. I think they were also maybe a vertical axis, which I know those designs have had some trouble in the past, but yours is durable in the sense that it's fold down. It doesn't have a gearbox. It's maintenance sealed, hydraulic motor. Can you talk a little bit more about the physical attributes of the EOCYCLE EO25 and why that might be suited for some of these tough environments that you probably couldn't plop down? You couldn't throw down a 3 megawatt turbine out of a helicopter, like you said.
That's right. Yeah. So it was. So we quickly realized several years back when preparing the next generation of our wind turbine that we needed to have an extremely robust and low maintenance turbine, right? Unlike wind farms where you have maintenance crews nearby or ready to come in at any moment, small wind turbines, can't support financially can't support a large amount of maintenance. So we had to come up with something that would still have a great amount of output, but would greatly simplify the wind turbine. So we looked at the components that had the greatest failure rates, and we tried to one by one tackle those. So one of those was blade pitching. So we have gone with a stall design blade. So essentially what we've done just broadly is try to remove as much as possible moving components. And so as you mentioned, generator is sealed, fixed pitch blades, direct drive, so no gearbox, sealed generator. And then as you mentioned again, we now use a tilt-up tower design on an 80-foot tower. And that really allows you to go into a lot of more remote places, but also even in very accessible places. It reduces your costs, your project costs, and does not cause any disturbance on, let's say, a farmer's land. And if you have maintenance, it's easy. You can send a couple guys, they can tilt down the turbine. And this all contributes to reducing the number of visits, or if you do have to visit, keep that cost very low. It's just your annual preventative maintenance.
Yeah, and so that seems like one of the main deterrents people would have. They say, all right, so I'm going to have this tower that I'm going to be now responsible for on my wind farm. Like, what if this thing, acts up? It's not working. Like, I'm not going up there. And now we got to call someone. That seems like a really expensive. Obviously, we know how much training people need to go up these things. It's expensive to have a crew out there. So it seems like you guys have been working hard to mitigate those from the beginning.
One of the key changes that we made, again, a few years back, was to move from being just a turbine manufacturer, technology provider, to a solutions provider. We now offer a turnkey solution. So customers don't need to become wind experts, right? That was a key. And I think that's essential for others to do the same in the industry. There isn't the industry maturity yet, or the network yet, where you could have multiple players, nor can the market economics support it. So it was a great move. We haven't regretted it, and it's been going very well for us. Again, it's just this idea of, customer comes in, we'll evaluate the wind for them. We'll do all the technical pieces of the analysis, the siting, get them to sign off on it, and then it's we take care of the development cycle, the permitting process, the construction, and then they sign a maintenance contract with us, and we'll take care of the full life cycle. So they really just need to watch their electric bill and see how much they save.
Gotcha. And then you guys have two turbines. So you have the EO25, which is like your flagship model, and then you have the new Zant line. So that's from a company that you guys acquired. Is that right?
Right. So thanks for mentioning that. We have been talking about the 25 kilowatt, and that's still primarily the wind turbine that we're selling here in the U.S. As it is certified, so it's eligible for the tax credit. But we have added the Zant line, and it's 100 kilowatt wind turbine, Belgium. A company from Belgium, and with a lot of the same philosophy and approach to their wind turbines. And we now saw an opportunity to bring a larger wind turbine, right? Unlike solar, where you can scale easily with the number of panels, if you have a farm that has a large energy demand, you can't just easily scale up your turbine, obviously. So adding 100 kilowatt to our quiver is something we're really excited about, and will open the door to just so many more farms or businesses that can benefit from our wind turbine. And
that'll be a bigger kilowatt output. Is that right?
It's a 100 kilowatts. Yeah.
Gotcha. So let's talk a little bit about the output there. So what size, if it's a small business or like a dairy farm or something, whatever it is, how far does 25 kilowatts go?
Right. So it's a size that we chose really because it's too large for residential, and while there is a lot of a market for that, we felt that it would be best to go into a slightly higher energy consumer, where we can benefit from some of the economies of scaling up a turbine, reducing your cost, where we could be more competitive, but not so big that there were very few and far between.
Yeah.
You know, your customers were very few and far between. And so this was the happy medium when we started with the 25 kilowatt. And the target market has really been in the US, really the farms, right? That's where you have the right combination of energy usage. Small, medium-sized farms is really for 25 kilowatt wind turbines. Livestock farms in particular tend to use a lot more electricity. And farms in general now, as they electrify, are really using more electricity than ever, or will be in the coming years. Large farms were not as good of a fit, right? And that's where the 100 kilowatt, well, I should say not a good a fit. You could use it without any difficulty, but you're not offsetting as high of a percentage of their energy use, right? So it's not as exciting for them. But now we have another option. But right, it is this commercial rural businesses and farms are really that right size. It's about 5, 10, 15 homes.
Okay, yeah, that is a lot.
I mean, it depends on the wind speed and so on.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. So if you guys were going to go after other markets, like you said, like a small island that's maybe running off a diesel generator, you know, will this be a situation where they, you know, throw down 10 of them, or, you know, how does that? And I guess my other question here is, you know, you guys are really starting this push for distributed wind in the U.S., especially with 49 million different sites where you could put a distributed wind turbine. Where do you start? That seems like an overwhelming market where you're like, you know, where should our sales force go first?
Right. And you're right. There is a lot of opportunity out there in all sorts of markets and sub niches, and it is a bit overwhelming. And frankly, we have narrowed our focus more and more. You hear me talking here a lot about farmers because I just keep thinking farms, but really it's not just farms, right? There's plenty of opportunity and all kinds of other sites. We think that farming is it's a white space, right? It's an underserved, hugely underserved portion of the energy market. Solar in its largely suburban and urban settings is not out in these rural spaces as much, and it takes a lot of space. Farms don't want to take up their farmland. Mm-hmm. And one of our 25 kilowatt wind turbines will generate the equivalent of about 3.5 to 4 NBA tennis full-size basketball courts of solar panels. That's the equivalent. So in terms of energy output. So from a land use perspective, that can be significant, right? So farms are really is a niche that we've gone after, and we see a huge. There's also a lot of farms out there, right? It's hundreds of thousands of farms that could benefit from a wind turbine. So we've selected that niche. It's not the only niche, but you're right. We did have to focus on that, and we do get inquiries, and we'll serve anyone from who's ready to put up a wind turbine. But you do have to have some focus. This island opportunity that you mentioned and microgrids is fascinating, and we do have a small team working on that. And working on integrating, again, turnkey, full solution, complete energy storage solutions integrated with the wind turbine. That's going to be ready real soon. We're really excited about that, and that's a whole other game. There's huge opportunity. But anyways, I think I'm not answering your question about how to address some of the energy needs of these remote locations. Those are interesting challenges. Now, again, you're right. They're typically working on generating their electricity using diesel generators, which on a per kilowatt hour basis is often 50 cents to more than $1 per kilowatt hour.
Holy, that's a lot. Yeesh.
Yeah, so you're talking, right? I mean, 5-10 times what we're used to paying, right? Depending on where you are. So costs are very high, but of course accessibility is difficult, and land potentially may be difficult. There can be lots of logistical challenges. So the answer is in terms of finding the best solution is it depends. You really do have to look at the site. Does it make more sense? Is it easier? Is it more feasible to bring in more small wind turbines that easily fit into containers, or do we go with one larger one that's more logistically challenging? You have to look at it on a case by case, but this so makes these projects a lot more customized, typically a lot more complex, but the impact is also extremely high. It's significant.
Yeah, well, so like the financing piece, let's talk about that a little bit. So like, one of these small islands, I assume that they'd probably be willing to pay such a huge price per kilowatt hour because they just don't have a ton of money in a local municipality to throw down a couple $100,000 for a longer term solution that's going to pay for itself over time. And I assume that's probably the case with some farms, right? Too. Lots of farms do well. Some really struggle, right? I think it's up and down depending on the area and the crop here in the U.S. And the subsidies and the current administration, whichever one it is. So, I mean, how challenging is financing for some people that might be interested?
Yeah, financing is a challenge, and that's really for the distributed energy space in general. We are seeing the options, or I should say the mainstream financial markets slowly starting to move into the space. We've seen it particularly at the residential scale, but now we're seeing more and more interest at all levels, right? And from the mainstream players. While I'm not completely happy with the financing options that are on the table today, it's certainly a lot better than just say 5 years ago or even 2 or 3 years ago, where it was very challenging, right? Now there are state programs. You've got the conventional banks players that are starting to offer products to allow that. You've got different departments, Department of Agriculture and things like this that are not necessarily directly related, offering financing programs or signing off loan guarantees and all kinds of different programs that are making it a lot more accessible. In addition to that, we do also offer what we call our wind lease, right, where customers don't have to put any money down, and they can get into a program where it's a lease to own. They don't need to have the tax appetite to use the federal investment tax credit, and it's all built into the lease.
So what is the current incentives here in the U.S., and what's your outlook now that the Biden administration is in power?
So at the moment, in the distributed space, the investment tax credit versus the PTC, production tax credit, makes more sense. The numbers pencil out better. That has currently been extended for another 2 years, which was great news. We welcome that news, and that really gives us a little bit more runway as we try to build out to very high volumes, which we're on a track to do here right now, but we're still relatively in the early days. So really optimistic that they're at this point. I mean, again, my personal opinion here, but I feel like there's a lot of reason to be optimistic. I think there could be, we're seeing discussions about increased financing through the Department of Energy, USDA, U.S. Department of Agriculture, in addition to continued discussions about doing even more with the federal investment tax credit. There's even been some rumors, there has been discussions, I know, about bringing back the grant option, where it's actually, you can get it in a check, which would be fantastic for customers like ours, our farmers, which, as you said, have cyclical financials, right, and don't necessarily have the tax appetite in any given year.
Yeah. So, and do some of these come from Department of Energy? Others, I mean, there's programs from the USDA. I mean, what are some of the ways where farmers I really want to make this happen, that they can do that? Are there any other government programs that are maybe upcoming or anything on the horizon?
Well, I think, frankly, of course, any industry that wants to take off needs a boost, right, to get started. And there are some programs out there right now. We're still not on a level playing field with their conventional old school energy sources, but there are some interesting incentives. Frankly, if I were to ask for anything right now, I'd say let's solidify what we have in place, bring some reassurance to the markets, stop making this a constant battle to get extensions. Remove this uncertainty, right?
Yeah.
Bring clarity to the programs. If we can do the grant, let's do the grant, because just make it easy and predictable, right? That's really the biggest thing that we can do. And so I think, again, that's one of the things I'm excited about in the Biden administration. He's mentioned one of the things that stuck with me is he said, this is not a time for small measures, and when it comes to climate change. And I agree with him on that point. And this is the kind of thinking that we need to say, okay, let's stop messing around with these incentives that are not here for the long term, and makes it very because it makes it very difficult for us to plan in a very long time on a long time scale,
Yeah.
right? And to do and so right now. We're happy with what's there. We have a very good runway in front of us. I'm optimistic that runway is going to be extended or even improved in terms of the opportunities. But yeah, certainty would be my one ask.
Yeah. So I know one of the things that's interesting is the some of the people who are against wind power, and it seems like it's for various reasons. Sometimes it's aesthetics. Sometimes people are like, they fear it's hurting their property values. Sometimes it's the cry against wildlife, that they're saying it's killing birds and bats and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And some of that messaging falls under the misinformation, right? There's been a lot of new studies coming out that birds are not really significantly harmed, especially when you compare it to oil and gas. There's a number of studies that are starting to show that it's not as big a concern, and a lot of that's misinformation. Of course, there are a lot of environmental concerns, and we don't know everything today. That 30 years we might figure out, yeah, this was something that this industry did or that industry did that we thought was safe then, and we've over time proven out. I think Oreos is my favorite example. Remember when they put hydrogenated oil in Oreos and later learned that it was like terrible for us? I ate so many Oreos when I was a kid. But is there much pushback for the distributed wind sector? Like, I know there's a lot of pushback on, not a lot, but there's there can be a loud minority voice against putting wind turbines in someone's local area. Is it the same for distributed wind?
So generally, here in the U.S., we're well received, right? This is in some global markets we see more challenges with that. In the UK, where there's a longer history of wind energy,
Mm-hmm.
and we do see some more resistance. But overall, this is why this is a great time to be doing distributed wind energy. We're seeing a far greater acceptance, right? And in the last 12 months, the amount of pushback is really, really decreasing, right? As I said, it's just a broad understanding and realization that, hey, distributed energy is part of the mix, right? This is part of the answer. And so we still see, we'll see one person at the permitting meeting or something but it's like one, right? And they'll typically be drowned out or corrected if they're spewing false information. So I'd say several years back that was a bigger concern. It's not. I don't see it. It's not a major concern front and center for us right now, and I think it's trending in the right direction. Right, the information's getting out there, and you know what? Nothing is better than just seeing wind turbines out there and getting experience and realizing that a lot of the things that people had heard or perhaps been afraid of are just simply not true.
Yeah, that was my next question was, do you have to have messaging campaigns? Like if you go to, Farmer John, do you have to go to Farmer Sally and Farmer Tim and Farmer Rick down the street and sort of gain community support? Like you might have to for a big wind site, right? But it sounds like you probably don't need to do that, and people are probably just becoming more comfortable over time.
Right. Well, and again, this is a different scale, right? These are,
Hmm.
we call it farm scale, right? So when you're talking about an 80-foot wind turbine, this will fit into an existing
Yeah.
landscape, right? It fits in well. You're not impacting people a mile away. Um, they'll see, they'll see it the way they see the other buildings. So, and from a permitting perspective and interconnections permitting perspective, things are much simpler.
Hmm.
While in some cases depends on the county or the region, there'll be different procedures to do that. But generally speaking, it's a much less involved because it's just much less of an impact.
Yeah, gotcha. So, what other companies are in this space? I mean, is there a lot of competition
Mhm.
in distributed wind? Obviously, even in big commercial wind, there's not that many
Mhm.
OEMs. There's Siemens Gamesa, there's GE, there's Vestas, and then overseas there's a larger presence, like Suzlon and Goldwind and others. But what are your main competitors?
Right. Well, it's maybe a surprise to hear this, but we don't actually focus on our competitors. Well, first of all, there are very few of them. There are several little players out there that are trying to make a go at it, but they're in early stages. Their turbines are not certified, right? Again, we're taking this with the mindset that we want to be able to scale this to a large scale to volume, right? So to do that, you need to have robust wind turbines, right? Doing 4 or 5 or 10 or whatever. It's just not the end game. So when you look at, okay, who's ready to really attack this market in a big way, there are extremely few. So I don't worry too much about, we don't worry about our competitors at all. In fact, I'd love to see anybody that's out there have success right now,
Hmm.
because I think this is a moment where the rising tide will lift everyone.
Yeah.
And so that's what we need. So I like to see everyone be successful. Our competition and the competition for everyone in the distributed space is really the electric grid. Those are the rates and the value of the electricity that's being produced, right? That's what you need to beat. That's where you need to be competitive to give the kind of paybacks that get people really excited, even those that are not particularly passionate about reducing their environmental footprint or
Hmm.
whatever it is, but just say, hey, this just makes sense
Yeah,
financially,
financially.
right?
Hmm.
Because that's when you really get the volume. So we've reduced our LCOEs in a very dramatic fashion. I mean, in the early days, in the first generation, we were up at 30 cents a kilowatt hour, and now we're under 10 cents a kilowatt hour,
Wow.
and on a path down to 5 cents a kilowatt hour. And we're still early in this game with relatively low volumes, right? So as we get into the serious volumes that we see, and we see that market opportunity in front of us, it's going to just compound and just makes more and more sense for more and more people.
Let's pivot a little bit to your career in wind. So you've been in for a long time, and you've obviously been in, the big wind side and the distributed wind side. With hopefully a lot of green energy jobs being created in the next 5 years, seems like a lot of people are going to be getting into the space and learning some of these technical jobs and some of these very analytical jobs. And obviously, there's still going to be a big push for sales and lots and lots of just green jobs in general. What advice would you give people who are starting out on their journey in wind power and green energy in general?
Mm. Well, you're right. There is going to be a lot of opportunity, right? And in fact, we're hiring now, right? And it's difficult to find people. Um, when I'm hiring, I don't expect anyone to have a wind energy background, right? That's just I suppose it depends on the position, but uh, senior electrical engineer working on a wind turbine, perhaps we may want some expertise. But again, generally speaking, we don't necessarily need someone coming specifically from the distributed wind space. So there is a lot of opportunity for passionate, smart, bright men and women to jump into the space. I think I always tell my my colleagues and friends who've asked me this question as well, because some have wanted to do this, that it's really no different than any other industry, right? If you want to get into it, you need to start talking to the people. Sure, you can start sending your resumes and all that, but if you don't have an experience in the industry, it's difficult to get attention. What you need to do is you need to speak. You need to speak to people, reach out to people like me. And actually, if people have called me, and I'm happy to offer some guidance when that has happened. But reach out, connect, go to events. I mean, it's a little different time now, but reach out, ask questions, be inquisitive, and the opportunities are there.
Yeah.
And frankly, when I look back at it, that's how I got in myself, right? Obviously, your first job, you don't have a background in the space, but you find out what's needed and you meet the right people, and doors start to open.
Yeah, and especially with COVID, I think a lot of people will be pivoting, and I think there's also probably a lot of people who maybe are a little stir crazy behind a computer, and maybe they're like, man, wind turbine tech seems kind of cool, or maybe they want to do something industrial. I think it'll be interesting to see in the next couple of years how jobs change. There's days when I look out my window, I'm like, I just want to go work construction for like a day.
Yeah.
Just be outside right now. I think it comes and goes for everyone.
Thing, by the way. So I'm not working on turbines, but sometimes I do want to.
Yeah,
let's go, let's get out there, even if the weather's bad, whatever, just for the fun of it, right?
Yeah, it's nice to have a balance, I'm sure. And so speaking of COVID, I mean, how has your company pivoted? I mean, what's been new? How have you been doing with it? I mean, everyone's experience is different, right? Like a lot of it's kind of business as usual, but the connectedness of the office is very different. One of the things that I found really interesting is that, people are asking, how are promotions going to work? Especially if the office goes back partially. So like say a quarter of the company is in the headquarters and the CEO is mingling with all those people in real life, and then 3/4 of the force is remote. Are those 3/4 who are remote going to have the same advancement opportunities when they're not sort of like getting the FaceTime and the connectedness? But anyway, a lot of different questions in there, but how have you guys been doing with COVID?
Well, fortunately, we have largely been able to continue with business as usual, with some slowdown. But again, our market space being farmers, and generally, again, speaking for the U.S. market, and even though we are selling globally, I primarily focus on the U.S. Farmers being an essential service, they've continued farming as usual. So our sales team, we've been able to, and our technical teams, we've been able to continue interacting with them. They're continuing about their daily business to the extent that we can. We've communicated by telephone and occasionally with some Zoom videos, video chats, and so on. But still, largely, we connect with our customer base. We're meeting them outside anyways, and so it's not been too much of an impact. I've been very pleasantly surprised that we've been able to do that and continue to grow. In fact, we've seen some of our fastest growth rates have been within the last year since COVID has hit. So I'd say largely we're doing fine. In terms of our internal culture, in our case, we were already more than half the company being remote anyways. We've got we're still a relatively small company, but our team was spread out, right? As we've got some folks in Europe, and here in the U.S. Headquarters is in Montreal in Canada. So while we've been able to get together some, we were all already distant. So the culture hasn't changed too much. There have been some impacts, including myself. I used to run across the border back and forth. And now I'm not able to do that. So that's unfortunate. And while for me personally, working behind the screen or remotely, that works for me. I have the motivation and the passion here and the discipline, I suppose, to be able to do that. I know it's not for everyone, but even me, I'm looking forward to having more in-person time with my colleagues. It's I think there's no question things are never going to go back, right? I think the workplace has changed in a way, and that there's been an accelerated change, right? And we were seeing some of these trends anyways, and this has been pushed along. Some of it will return, I hope we end up with some sort of hybrid model. I mean, I'm speaking more generally here, and this has nothing to do with wind energy, but I hope there's more opportunities for that it sticks, right? We have these hybrid models where, kind of like in the days, like you said, you want to go out in the field where, well, there'll be days where it makes sense to go and socialize or meet in person with your colleagues, and other days where you just want to get your head down and you want to do work, right?
Mm-hmm. Or you want to do 6 hours of remote work and then mountain bike for 6 hours.
Oh, you're right. That's
hammer it out on your own time, right?
That's right. That's right.
So last question.
Mountain biking here.
Yeah. Well, you're up in Vermont, so you got some good trails up there for sure.
Definitely.
So last question, for those who don't know, like I'm sure there's a lot of farmers who don't know that this is a solution. What is your marketing like? I mean, are you guys like beating down Facebook? Is it a lot of how do you get to someone who doesn't know that this is available to them, who might have the resources and be interested in it?
This is, we've tried some online campaigns, and we continue to do that to some degree, but frankly, we're old school here. Connecting with farmers is an in-person game, right? And it's a networking game.
Just cruising down. Right. You got a couple of tractors with the full wrap of logos and all that stuff.
That's a good idea, actually. Mm-hmm. We haven't done it with the tractor.
Who's that crazy guy selling wind turbines?
No, but it is essentially knocking on doors, calling, but it's also about creating showcase projects in an area, and then leveraging that, right, with drone footage, marketing footage, with ribbon cutting events, or just open house events where the neighbors can come, right? And that is the best way to, in this case, that's where we found is the most effective way to reach our customer base.
Do you guys get booths at I lived in Central Illinois for 9 years. Do you guys have booths at the local fair where there's tons? I mean, everyone who's in agriculture is there. Local agriculture shows, they're huge. Do you guys show up there?
In a normal year, yes. We had big plans this year, and so of course they were all canceled. But yes, it's a great place just to have some conversations, answer questions. Talk about, hey, does it impact birds and things like that, right? I mean, there's a good portion of the population that is still learning the basics, right? And that's fine.
And they just hear what they heard. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And that's okay. I'm just happy that someone's asking the question, even if it's, if I feel like, oh God, it's this question again, right? That's okay. Having people curious about it, which is what we're seeing right now. This is the phase of that evolution in rural communities, is to that curiosity level. And that's fantastic. Couldn't ask for anything more.
Yeah, and what I learned living out there for 9 years, because I'm back in DC now, is they're just great people. We had a lot of farmers. Definitely. I used to work with a lot of baseball and softball players out in the Midwest, and all the families from the rural areas are just amazing. Just really down to earth, kind, great people. Brought me farm fresh eggs, every once in a while. They're just good souls. So it's not a bad market to be interacting with those people for sure.
No, farmers in general, agricultural industry, is the heart of the country, right? And provide food on our table, right? This is an essential group of people, and often neglected by the larger financial markets and so on. So for us to be able to do something for the agricultural community, if you want to call it that, it's a very broad term, but you know what I mean. Mm-hmm. It is exciting, right? I mean, and there's it's not always been easy. We see that commodity prices going up and down. So here we're giving them a solution where they can save money, right, and bring predictable pricing for the next 30 years, right, on their electricity costs. Now that's only one of their operating costs, but if you can reduce that risk and lock that in, because that's essentially what you're doing, right? You're buying a wind turbine, you're locking in your electric prices for the next 30 years.
Yeah.
And for the lifespan of the wind turbine, that's now one less thing that they need to worry about, and they know what to expect. So it's a nice little bonus cherry on top for us to be able to do that.
Yeah, and for people who are often at the mercy of Mother Nature and weather. I mean,
That's right.
and crop yields. That's eliminating uncontrollable variables is got to be huge. Well,
Yep.
Paul, where can people follow up with you and with EOCYCLE?
Sure. Well, of course, they can head to our website, EOCYCLE.com, and can reach out to me on there very easily. I can be reached by email, and we're still a small team, so if you send an email, it's a good chance it's me that answers.
All right. And any social media handles or anywhere else you'd like to direct folks?
We are on Facebook right now and LinkedIn. They're most active. We are in the process of growing those and expanding on that as well. So I think you'll see more of us out there.
And you guys have a couple YouTube videos as well that shows some of your turbines and stuff like that.
Right.
Yeah. So we will link to those in the description below. So whether you're listening on podcast platform or you're watching on YouTube, we'll link those below so you can easily click through. Well, Paul, thanks so much for the conversation. Really appreciate your time the other day. We had a long pre-call getting ready for this show, and for your time today. It was a great conversation.
Great. Thanks, Dan. It was a pleasure to be here.
All right, that's going to do it for our episode of the Uptime Podcast. I want to thank again our guest, Paul Dawson from EOCYCLE. So be sure to check out the links in the description, whether you're listening to this on YouTube or podcast land. Be sure to check out their company. You can click through easily for their social media, their main website, and be sure to subscribe here for the Uptime Podcast, whether you're on iTunes, Spotify, wherever you listen, and leave us a review. We'd really appreciate it. Help spread the show. Thanks so much for listening, and we will see you here next time on the Uptime Podcast. Is downtime causing you financial pain and putting a stop to your power production for months on end? It's no secret, lightning strike damage is a major cause of wind turbine downtime. This damage is preventable with our easy-to-install strike tape lightning protection system for wind turbine blades. Our incredible engineering, build quality, materials, and edge sealants withstand up to 5 times more abuse in the toughest weather and lightning conditions, and we've got the research to prove it. If you're tired of constant downtime, we can help. Reach out to us at weatherguardwind.com and schedule a free call. We'll get your uptime back in no time.